waste any time. Let's jump into it. Do we have our guest in his sexy outfit? We do.
Loving that.
Welcome aboard,
What up?
Mr. Ryan Milliken. How you doing, bud?
Good. Yourself?
Doing well. I like the outfit.
Yeah, me too. I just got it last weekend.
Yeah, some new threads. You actually got a lot in the winner's circle. They kept handing me stuff. There was like a champagne bottle. You have your clubs, or your clubs are in the background there.
Yeah, we got some cool hammers, some cool a big check. It's the first big check I've ever won in all my years of drag racing, and some cool stuff to hang up in the shop. Got me a cool Stetson hat. Says No Mercy 14 on one side, and then it's the X275 champion on the other side. So
nice.
I'll be keeping this one around for a while.
So you've been wearing that outfit for a week straight now, correct?
Yeah, it needs a wash. My wife gives me a hard time because I've been sleeping with it and stuff, but she's going to have to get over it.
Smells like a winner.
Smells like a winner. All right, so let's back up and recap exactly what happened last week. Of course, Ryan is one of our sponsored diesel drag racers that doesn't really play with the diesel boys. He likes to go out and run in the gas world, and kind of has been carrying that torch for many years. Many
7 years to be exact.
Tough years of trying to run at the highest level. He runs X275, and he does it with the diesel power plant. And this past week was No Mercy, but it was actually two events in one because we had a canceled race. Thrones was canceled, so they squeezed it into this 1 week of madness, which I went down for, but I made it at the back end of Thrones. So let's start off with kind of recapping the Battle of the Thrones. That was kind of the makeup event that started the week. Is a lot of people don't know how well you did with that because the later news kind of trumped it. But that was a heck of a start to the week.
Nobody's looking for drag racing news on Facebook on a Monday or a Tuesday, so it was kind of weird to be racing that time as well.
So tell me about Battle of Thrones. I know you struggled in qualifying to start out, but then you kind of got it right when you needed it.
So long story short, Battle of the Thrones was a makeup race from a race in the spring. Qualifying was Monday morning, which is a bizarre time for qualifying. I don't know if I'll ever do that again. The first two whacks at the track were a swing and a miss. We went out and spun. I didn't really feel bad about it. I didn't try to go fix a whole lot of stuff. Out of the 30 or so cars that tried to qualify on the first qualifying pass, only 14 people made a full pull. So that kind of made me take a look at the program, decide to pump the brakes on changing anything, and go back and, wait for the track to come around. And it did eventually. Second time, I want to say 7 of the 30 or so cars made a full pull. And then I spun on the second time as well. Third time up, we went up and, we pulled it out of our behind and, we went 416. I don't remember the exact time slip specifics. We went 15 passes last week. So I do remember we qualified 416. It was enough number one. That was the last qualifier. And because of rain and weather constraints, we went straight into eliminations with only 3 qualifiers from Monday. So we eliminated on Tuesday. Ran all the way down through it in eliminations on Tuesday, and we parked it in the winner's circle. However, we parked it in the winner's circle as the runner-up in the first race. It was a combination of things why it didn't work out. The Moses boys are some bad boys. We couldn't go up there underestimating them at all. So the car wheelied, spun, did some weird stuff. We covered it in the video that you shared earlier about exactly what happened. So if you guys want the full rundown,
was that the first time? That was your first finals, right?
Yeah, I've never been in the finals at one of these races. I've been in the finals at a bunch of diesel races.
Sure.
I've been in the finals at some local 28 no time stuff, but I've never been in the finals on the big stage like this.
Now that said, you may have not made the finals in the Radio Outlaw series, but you've done very well all year to kind of stay at the top of the points race. You're kind of in that top group. Well,
we didn't really do, I wouldn't call it well. We just did consistently mediocre with a few highs and a few lows in there. So up until this week, we had 2 first-round duck outings, and we had 2 trips to the semifinals, as well as some number 1 qualifiers thrown in there. So we weren't at the bottom of the list on points, but we weren't at the top. I want to say we came into this race 7th on points.
Right.
And then, the parking it in the finals in the Battle of the Thrones, that took us, I want to say third-ish, third. And then we went into No Mercy, sitting third. And now
And I'll tell you
we're
what,
firmly second place.
historically, we've never had a diesel. I remember back when you had the green car and you won a round and like the internet broke and
Yeah.
it was like,
Well, the green car was it was a freak show when it first came out. I mean, we maybe we still are, but we win some rounds now, so I guess we're considered competitors. But when the green car first came out, we were just trying to qualify, just to even
right.
be on the same level as these guys. And then it was a historic marker when we flat out won a round, and it wasn't from a spin, it wasn't from anything weird. It was a heads up drag race, and we won it. And that was I want to say that was 2018, maybe 2017.
Yep.
And that felt good. And then it's just been, we went around here, we figure out a personal best 60 there, and it's just taken us this long to put all of it into one package, one weekend.
Right. Yeah, and that's how far it's come from just trying to qualify to get a couple points to being in that middle of the pack there, 7th in points, coming into this week, which is the big No Mercy week. You do the runner-up with the Thrones, and that gets you all the way to, we think it was 2nd or 3rd in points.
Yeah, we were 3rd in points after the Battle of the Thrones. I thought it was 2nd, but my counting on the fly was a little off. So we ended up 3rd in points going into No Mercy.
And so that started the week on Wednesday. Then we just, all of a sudden, we've got this abbreviated week and No Mercy's up and going. And you come out in Q1 of No Mercy and lay a nasty pass down.
Well, and I had no choice. We had the car set on the same way we raced it in Battle of the Thrones. We just fixed the wheelie and undid some of the stupid stuff we tried to get away with in the finals, which obviously didn't work. So I knew based on the forecast that we had one shot to hit that racetrack hard, and it was on Q1. So we had to get it done in Q1. And the weather was so bad that was coming in that when I went through the traps on Q1, my windshield was wet. Like I was driving in the rain on the return road. So we made a rip right into the rain. And thank God for long shutdown and parachutes and a nice consistent race car. But if we wouldn't have got it done then, I know we went 420 on the second hit, but that's what sealed the deal. I think on the weekend right there was that 416 rip in Q1. And as soon as we did that, I knew that we had a hot rod. I knew that if we got that done, and we already parked it in the winner's circle once, we know where we screwed up. We've got, I wanted to say we had the fastest race car there, but Gary Underwood actually technically did. But we did what it took and made it happen.
And like you said, I remember at the time, you actually pissed me off because we were playing the GoPro game and you said, you're done putting the cover on it. You're not going to run it again to E1. So we took all the cameras off your car and to get some on Derek and Jonathan.
That was when I thought we were going to get 3 or 4 qualifiers. I had no intention of going out on a junk racetrack with all the rain and getting myself back into a weird corner where I'm thinking I need to change the car and all sorts of stuff. So,
and the next thing you know, we
the
turn
only
around
reason
and
I went up for Q2 is because
like,
we'd been sitting in the rain for 3 days.
Right. But it was a good move because, it allowed you to see the track in that condition. And nobody did out ET you there. So you left qualifying still sitting number 1 position.
Well, Gary Underwood, the guy that I raced in the finals, did run a 413 with it was like
in the first round,
fastest,
the first qualifier.
Yeah, pass ever. However, he made a technical error when he put a new turbo on the car. He took a cast iron center section and a cast iron backing plate GT55 off and put a billet backing plate and center section precision on and did not account for the 15, 20-ish pounds that changed. So he ran that heater of a 413 in Q1. So I thought I was number 2 qualifier and I was just okay with it. And then, when the sheet came out, he was DQ'd. And turns out it's because he didn't account for all the weight he just took off the nose with that turbo. So he had to go back and, Turbo ran good. We had to add some weight, and then of course we all sat in the rain, and he wasn't able to back up that 413 on the second qualifier we got for No Mercy.
Right. And then we get into eliminations. Then we just get rain. I think we were rained out for a day and a half.
It felt like a week, but I think it was 2 days.
And shout out to
I think
Ralph.
there were two complete days where no race cars went down the track.
Yeah, and those I got to give a shout out to Ralph and the guys at TVC. Those guys prepped that track only to get us in the lanes ready to go, and then once again more rain, and then they prepped the track. They prepped
the look
that
of defeat
track.
on those guys' faces. I felt extremely bad for them.
Yeah. So then we finally got to eliminations, and it was go time. And with your number one qualifier, you had a first round bye.
I did. Yep.
So you had a decision, and you're just going to break the beams, or are you going to actually lay a lick down and see what?
Well,
I think this is when
the
you made a
benefit
good
of making
lane
a full
choice,
pull
right?
on a bye. Yeah, the benefit of making a full pull on a bye is you get lane choice. As a racer, I try not to have a lane choice. I don't want to want right or left lane. The only time that really comes into play is if we first get some shade. The left lane at South Georgia gets shade, the sun off of it before the right lane does. But outside of that, I don't really care about a lane choice. So, and because the following runs of elimination were going to be at nighttime, the lanes were going to be equal. So I did take a 60-foot hit, mostly just because we had multiple different types of racetrack the whole time, and I wanted to go into E2 with the confidence that the car was going to go A to B, and the little changes that I made worked. So that is why we took the bulbs E1 and let it go 60 foot and just backed off. Some people thought I spun or something, but we actually just let off the gas and drove out.
And you were printing tickets like a bracket racer. Even from the 60 foot, you could tell it was on the same hit it had been making.
Yeah, the car had very minimal changes all weekend, with the exception of trying to fix that wheelie and fixing the car from driving left during the wheelie, which is sketchy as well. So the only thing that really changed round to round was, as a driver, how deep I staged into two bulbs, and that does make a huge difference by about 2 numbers on a 60 foot. So, excuse me. If
Also
I go,
got you some good reaction times too.
it did. It can get you some good reaction times, and it can cause some bad ones. So, if you stage shallow, meaning you barely flicker the second bulb and you're laying on, if you stage shallow, it gives you a lesser reaction time and a faster 60 foot, because by the time you turn the bulbs off, you're already moving.
You're rolling.
You've got some momentum to get to that 60 foot. And the backwards is true if you stage deep. You get a really badass reaction time. But like I did in, I want to say it was the second round of qualifying, the data log printed over the 108 60 foot perfect, but I went 111. And then it showed like a 17 on the tree, which is unseasonably fast for me. So by looking at those numbers, I knew that I staged deep. And so it screwed the numbers up a little bit. But that's all weekend long. That's pretty much all that changed from a 107.9 to a 111 60 foot was where I put the car in the beams before I stopped.
Yep. And that's what happened. Round 2, round 3, semis or quarter semis. It was just a repeat. Your competition was getting tougher, but you weren't making decisions based on your competition because you knew you had a car that was working. It was printing the same ticket over and over. Yep. You were focused on just being a good driver. And
yeah, you got to race your lane. I mean, if you focus on what's that saying go? Winners focus on winning and losers focus on winners, or whatever, something like that. So we just raced our lane, did what we knew we had to do, did what we knew how to do. And really the variable we had all week was whether or not I could bang the tree like I needed to. And thankfully I was able to pull my head out from my behind enough times in a row to make it happen to get all the way to the finals. And that's how we won the race in the finals. Was
that's the irony of all of it.
Yeah, it was 51 10 thousandths at the stripe, or 5 100ths at the stripe, so 0.0051. And that was won on the tree because I went a 20 to his 16. And the difference, I got to do the math, but the margin of victory has to be like either inches or fractions of an inch. It was, when I looked out the window and we were at about 500 feet, I didn't think I was getting the wind light. So when it came on, it surprised the shit out of me in the car.
Well, I'll tell you, standing on the line, watching it, nobody knew. I mean, it was door to it's what we normally see. You get 60 foot at a bit, and then here comes the diesel freight train once that turbo starts screaming and just running these gas cars down. And it's always a matter of is there enough track to catch them? And that was
Hmm.
the closest of all the races was in the finals. And man, it looked
Well,
close from the back. And then when we saw, your lane light up with the wind light, it was like, oh my God, I can't believe he got him. And like you said,
if I wasn't
point zero
strapped in, I
zero
would have been
five.
doing backflips in the car. So
What was your trap speed in the final? Was it like 180?
no, I didn't go 180 all week. Because of the rule changes that keep happening, and I'm not bitching by any means. Because of the rule changes that keep happening, they keep taking nitrous away, keep taking little stuff away, and it's to get the racing fair. We don't want the other competitors knowing or seeing me go out 182 or 183 or just as fast as I want, and them unable to do that because of their rule sets. So, the rules are super fair right now. I went anywhere from 176 to 179 this weekend, and that had a lot to do with mostly atmospheric conditions. And I think, to be honest with you, how much glue was on the track, because some of the times when I slowed down a mile an hour, I didn't have a good answer as to why it went slow, except I think there was just so much glue on the track it slowed the car down.
Right.
So, we didn't go 180 this weekend. I don't know if we'll see 180 out of the car anymore. I got to find some more horsepower from somewhere. But, this weekend we got it done on reaction time. We got it done up front
And
through
that's
the
the
60
crazy
foot.
part
And
was let's be honest, Ryan, you are not famous for your reaction times.
uh, well, once upon a time, I was known as Red Light Ryan, and that
I
we had to
heard
get
I
away
just
from
learned
that.
that this weekend. That was before my time.
We went
But
too far the other direction, and I turned into, make a sandwich Ryan or whatever you want to call it. And it's difficult to find balance, let's say.
but that's what was cool. So this weekend we had I don't think any cars broke 420 besides that disqualified pass to start. Your
Yeah, it was
416
a
sat
bottom 420 field for sure.
right. So going into the finals, you were printing 420 tickets. Who would have thought that the guy facing you was going to lay down a 416? And it's like, could you
I,
get a
I
416
I
back out of
knew
the
he had a
car?
heater loaded up. If he was going to make a full pull, I knew the only way to beat that car with my car there as high as I could have it turned up. I brought everything I had to the table was every single pass that weekend. So I knew the only way I was going to beat that guy was on the tree. He was going to run a teen something.
And you did. You whole shot. I mean, you don't get a lot of whole shot wins. You'll run people down, but usually
No,
you're not beating them
normally
that
I'm
bit
the
out on the
sleepy
tree.
on the tree, lazy 60 foot and run them down. But, with the rules that keep changing, I can't do that. So I have no choice but to bang the tree and run it up front as hard as I possibly can, and then just hope the cruise control at the back is enough.
All right, so here's something I haven't talked to you about yet. I'm curious. Uh, did you see the wind light, and did you know, and what did that feel like when you realized you had won?
Inside the car, yeah, I saw the wind light because the lights light up on the quarter mile boards. So as soon as we crossed the 8th mile traps, I could see them. So I mean, I was excited. I was really excited, almost confused because I'm driving down the track and I'm looking out, and I have a really hard time telling if this guy's got a fender on me or not. But like I said, the margin of victory, if it wasn't several inches, it was a fraction of an inch. Like they had to be like the bottom balance of my car hit the beams before the bottom balance of his did by like the
Right.
tiniest bit. So, but yeah, I was excited. I was super excited. I had Rick. I wear a helmet in my. Or I wear an earpiece in my helmet. So I've got Rick screaming all sorts of stuff in my earpiece. I don't know. I saw the wind light. I knew we just won. And reality really didn't set in. I think till we got to the top end and everybody was up there and we're hugging and high fiving and all that stuff. So. Um, then they stuck the camera in my face for the top end interview, and I'm trying to answer their question. And thankfully, I had sunglasses on because I was choking up a little bit, and my throat got real tight, and it was hard to talk. And it was a really happy, super, overwhelming, joyous experience for me. So, I'm hoping I'll win some more races in the future, but none of them are going to be like this one.
Right. Well, it's like I said, it's a historic moment for diesel motorsports, and I've been warning the whole gas world that it's coming, and we've got more coming, and our technology is gaining faster than it is on the gas side. So we're going to see more, but there's always going to be one first, and that's what made that special. And I'm sure you're going to remember that forever. What I thought was really
Oh yeah.
cool is you've got so much respect from those guys in the X275 class and all Ducks Racing more so. They've had a good time at your expense over the years, watching you
Oh
try
yeah.
to run at that level
I've been
with the tractor motor.
somebody
And
referred to me the other day as the rodeo clown, and I thought that was kind of funny.
well, you got the outfit for it now too, so that's good.
Yeah,
Uh,
I mean,
but
you know, it's
I,
probably
I
not
really thought it was
SF5
cool to
certified,
see.
but I might have to see how it feels in the race car.
There you go. But I thought it was cool to see all of your fellow racers, that they've watched you do this, um, and so to see all those guys recognize the legitimacy of what you did with that power plant was really cool to see that community really commend you for it too. They know how hard it is to do it with an LS or a blown Hemi or something, and it's like, man, this guy just came
I
out and
mean,
did it with a tractor motor. Like, wow.
Yep. At the end of the day, it's a competition engine, just like all their competition engines. You know, those guys have Motecs. I have a Motec. They run Fuel Tech and Holly and stuff. That stuff won't run our engine. So, um, it's just our individual combo and getting it figured out. And the biggest thing for me is finally figuring out a package that would not only run the number but stay together. As you've seen my issues over the years with parts flying off, suspension components breaking, drive shafts, turbos, being on fire, you name it. If it's on this car, I've probably broke it at least twice. So, getting a combo that would stay together, and then getting the driver to do his job all at the same time, the stars just aligned for us is what it was. So, but now that we know how to do it, I'm hoping we can recreate that recipe and do it some more.
Right, right. It really did feel like that. Like as the week was going, it was just kind of like, man, this is all coming together here. This he's going to have a shot here, and to watch you just continue to foot push through to the finals, it was awesome. And then that leads us
when we went number one at No Mercy. Like, I didn't want to say it out loud because I didn't want to jinx me, but when we went number one at No Mercy, and I just parked it in the winner circle at the Battle of the Thrones, and some of the heavy hitters were having issues. It was really a race of attrition. But when we parked at number one at qualifier at No Mercy, deep down inside, I thought, I can do this.
Yep.
Just keep doing what I'm doing, keep banging that tree, keep calm, and just do what you do. So the night after the first couple eliminations went down, a lot of people were partying, staying up late and all that. We got the car packed up. I took a shower. I think I was in bed by like 11:30, which is weird for the racetrack. Normally it's a 1 or 2 o'clock, shutdown time. So I was up at 6 a.m. making breakfast the following day. Just try to keep as calm and as clear as possible. And, it worked. So we're
well, and let's also give a shout out to the thick boy, Rick Haynes, your crew chief.
Absolutely.
I know I watch you drive yourself crazy on the tune, whether you shouldn't, make it change, make it not. It was working. And I know Rick was like, you're not touching anything. Like, I think he said he's going to make you walk home
after first round
anything.
eliminations. I pulled the data log after first round, and the following rounds of elimination data log are still in the car. I haven't pulled it, and I'll look at it later before I go racing again. But if the car's doing what it's supposed to do, there's no reason to look at it or even open it. So we didn't.
And so after this crazy week where you have a runner-up and a victory in the same week, you got a crap ton of points in this point series. And
Yep.
We've got one race left down in Orlando. We got the World Street Finals.
World Street Finals, and the kicker for that race is it's double points. So,
right. And you're
I don't have the point sheet in front of me, but I think we're 24 or 26 points behind right now. So, what that comes down to is at World Street eliminations, because it's double points. Kenny Hubbard is number one. I've got to go one round further than Kenny Hubbard in the finals at that race. So if he goes out first round and I go out second round, like, I got to do the math on everybody else, but that's all I need is one round ahead of Kenny, and we can win the championship. And Kenny Hubbard is, of course, last year's world champion in this class. And at that race, he came from second, third, or fourth or something and won a championship that we thought was wrapped up by the guy that was leading the points going into the finals. So just because you're leading the points going into the finals, because the finals are double points, does not mean you're safe. And hard way racing is right there. We're nipping at the heels.
And Kenny Hubbard's a bad man, and that's a bad car.
Kenny Hubbard's a bad man. He's got a bad car. His program is dialed. Him and I have lined up several times, and he's beat me every time. So I'm hoping we get down there. I'm hoping each of us have successful races. I hope we park ourselves on the ladder far enough away from each other that we don't have to see each other until the finals, because that would be an epic showdown. But we'll see. So
right.
We're gonna patch the car up, change the oil, wipe it down. Got some bugs on the windshield we got to take care of. We are.
Did you change the oil all week between the two events this past week, or did you just run the oil off? Did you change the oil at all this past week between the two events?
No, we put some more in it because we got a little bit of blow by. So all said and done, I think we ran about 1.5 quarts, maybe 2 quarts through the car. And of course, what ends up in the catch tank in the back, we don't pour back in. We pour some fresh new hot shots in the front and let the old stuff stay in the back. And it's kind of like an oil change,
For sure.
We did adjust the valves one time, so Chase Fleece would be happy.
Yeah. But the cool thing about this finals now, and I want to make sure everybody understands this, like what you just did to win one of these races is something else. The fact that you're in the points chase shows this wasn't a one-time fluke. This wasn't you happened to string 7 races together. Everybody knows how tough that is. But
yep.
Win or lose, draw, whatever you do in the finals, the fact that you're in the running and for a class championship in a diesel application, and it's you and Kenny Hubbard going at it. I mean, who would have thought this was even possible just a couple years ago?
Who'd have thought, right?
So, do you expect?
I do want to say this. There's a lot of rumors and stuff going around that we're switching to LDR for next year, and it is on the horizon as a thing I'd like to do. But my goal is to win an X275 championship. So if I end up runner-up this year in X275, you're going to see Old Blue in X275 next year. And we're not quitting until we win one. I don't care how long it takes or what it costs or how hard we got to work. We will win one.
I got you. Well, you got a good opportunity coming up here. And I believe that's like the second week of November 12th, 13th, around there, I believe.
Yeah, second weekend of November. So first weekend in November, we're going to plan on going down and doing some testing. We've made some super slight tweaks of something that I'd like to see work a little better. I think would give us some advantage. Not have to swing so hard at it to still be able to run the number. We're going to go try it. We're going to bring the parts to put it back the other way if we don't like it. That way we can race exactly the way we just did. And, I'd like to, instead of a 418 to a 420 bracket car, I'd like to see a 415 to a 418 bracket car. And if we can dial it in right there, we'll be in really good shape.